1988 Emmy Awards for Sports. Sunday at 3:30 on Channel 8. The following newscast was pre-recorded for viewing at this time. Now, from the News Center for the Susquehanna Valley, it's The Late Reports with anchors Kim Lemon and Keith Martin and Jim Stone on sports.
Good evening. Tonight, police in Lancaster investigating an apparent homicide at the Park City Center. We'll have a live report.
More on that in just a moment, but tonight is a cold night in the Susquehanna Valley fruit orchards.
And it will be a long night in those orchards for growers watching delicate blossoms for signs of frost damage. Well, the growers know it will be cold. The question is, will it be cold enough, long enough to cause serious damage to the crops? Bill Saylor reports the danger and the concern are real.
Many orchards in the Susquehanna Valley are brightly colored with blossoms. Although it makes for pretty scenery, an expected sharp drop in the overnight temperatures could turn the scene into a nightmare. Frost warnings throughout the area represent a serious threat to the fruit crop.
We could lose it, but we have a number of varieties, and some of them aren't as far advanced as these.
In fact, one Penn State official said a drop to 21 degrees could mean a 90% kill of the apple crop, and 24 degrees a 90% kill of the peach yield. This grove of nectarines is in full blossom. Haas said one saving factor could be the mild winter we just had.
This year we had a mild winter. We probably didn't have any weather that went below five above, so we've got more buds than usual this year. We have probably 10 times as many blossoms on the trees as we need to set a full crop.
Haas has about 240 acres of orchards. More than 60 acres are in peaches, nectarines, and apricots. He said those fruits are in the most immediate jeopardy.
We'd like to see a little air movement tonight, and most important that the temperature doesn't go below 25 or 26 degrees. If it stays in that range, we have a good chance of having full crops yet.
For now, there isn't much you can do about the weather, but wait and see. Even burning of smudge pots or old tires is a thing of the past.
We don't smoke in restaurants, and we don't smoke in the orchard.
He said adverse effects on the environment have outlawed the practice. The forecast is pretty much telling the story. It's going to be extremely cold for the next couple of nights, and these fruit trees in blossom could be very vulnerable. Bill Saylor, News Center 8.
And how will you and I be affected by this freeze warning? Here's meteorologist Joe Calhoun with more.
Well, Kim, the winds have held up through the evening hours, so temperatures have been hung up, but they're starting to drop off. That means temperatures will drop and drop into the 20s. We'll go overnight tonight. 30s just off to our south, but because of the orchards, as Bill mentioned, there is a freeze warning in effect for lower parts of the Susquehanna Valley. That would be Lancaster, York, Adams, Franklin County, also Perry, Cumberland, and up into Lebanon County. So we'll be watching that, and I'll show you more on the weather forecast, how long the cold may last coming up.
All right, Jeff.
It will be a long night in the orchards tonight.
Sure will. Well, 16 years after women were granted the right to a legal abortion, the battle surrounding the controversy is still ongoing. The pro-choice movement stepped up its lobbying efforts today on Capitol Hill. Nearly 300,000 people rallied in Washington yesterday, and today pro-choice supporters worked to make sure representatives and senators heard their message. Ultimately, the question of legalized abortion will be heard by 9 members of the Supreme Court later this month. The court's decision on a Missouri law could have impact on the 1973 Roe versus Wade decision, which legalized abortion. But tonight, pro-life supporters are continuing their call for an end to legalized abortion. As Jim Sinkovich reports, supporters rallied today in Harrisburg saying women are being exploited by abortion.
4 women, 3 of whom have had an abortion, recalled their experiences today and called for an end to legalized abortion.
We know that in today's society, abortion is $1 million a day business, and that the doctors and the clinics that are performing these abortions are making a profit off a woman's poor situation or uncomfortable situation.
Jerry Pickle of Lancaster County returned to Harrisburg for the first time since she had an abortion at a clinic here in 1977. Pickle said she's been emotionally traumatized since then and now counsels women with post-abortion syndrome. This news conference is in response to the huge walk for women's equality in women's lives in Washington, D.C. this week, where celebrities, politicians, and thousands of others argued women alone should retain their legal right to decide for themselves. Clinical psychologist Sarah Dorman is hoping to make abortion illegal, even though she admits women would still have them.
The reason it's wrong is because women were created to have children, and when we do something that goes against our body's mechanisms. We know that.
Though they were few in number, the pro-life groups have brought the issue of abortion to the forefront once again, with protests across the country and here in the Susquehanna Valley as well. The U.S. Supreme Court is scheduled to hear a Missouri case in about 3 weeks that the High Court could use to overturn the 1973 law which permitted abortion. In Harrisburg, Jim Sienkiewicz, News Center 8.
As darkness fell in the Susquehanna Valley tonight, Mothers Against Drunk Driving conducted the first Lancaster County Victims Candlelight Vigil on the steps of the old courthouse. The vigil is part of National Victims' Rights Week, with the names of accident victims read in remembrance. Spokesperson Pamela Grosh said this is all part of the effort to make the public aware of the toll from drunk driving among innocent victims. The event was sponsored by the Victim Witness Policy Board of the District Attorney's Office and Mothers Against Drunk Driving. The theme this year, From the Darkness of Crime to the Light of Hope.
And just ahead on the late report, the man suspected of the pickaxe murder of his mother is returned to the Susquehanna Valley.
And the trial begins of 2 Susquehanna Valley men suspected of starting a $1 million fire at a lumber yard. We'll be right back.
They've been working on that castle all afternoon. Look at them. So wrapped up in their own little world. Not a care, not a worry. Isn't that the life? Oh, now that's more like life. Gotta be ready for anything.
Nationwide is on your side.
Bow, bow, bow. Matchmaker, matchmaker, this is no fun. Send me somewhere, I need the sun. Matchmaker, matchmaker, I've got the tent. I'm ready to fish, I got boats to rent.
The genuine Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages gives you the most ads and the most choices. No wonder it's the most used book around.
Show us some sights, 3 days, 2 nights. Make me a perfect match.
The genuine Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. No other book can match it.
Beating the Honda Prelude could be a challenge, but look at it this way. This sporty Mazda MX-6 beats it by over $2,500. Its warranty covers you for an additional 14,000 miles. MX-6 has far more room inside. I mean, right now it comes with $750 cash back from Mazda. How's that for a good reason to make the move to Mazda?
See your local Mazda dealer today and get $750 cash back on MX-6.
If the finer things in life fall a little out of your price range, take heart. Right now, you can afford the finest name in water conditioners. Culligan, the creme de la creme for just $6.90 a month for 3 months, plus a modest installation fee, so you can save your money for something else that's good on water. Try the very best for just $6.90 a month. Call 1-800-533-3380 or your local Culligan dealer.
Tonight, police in Lancaster are investigating an apparent homicide at the Park City Center. Officials think it started with a dispute in a parking lot and ended with a strangulation.
And Mall Marketing Director Harry Grandin is standing by with live camera 8 at the Park City Center. Mr. Grandin, what do we know for certain at this point?
Well, Keith, the facts as I have them right now is there was an altercation. It started in the parking lot. Our security was on patrol in another area of the mall. They were called by a store. Our security guards responded, coming from the food court down in below Penny's, walked down the Penny's Mall, cut across Center Court, went to the South Mall, and by then the participants in the altercation had come back inside from the parking lot, and they saw one of the gentlemen was down on the floor. Our security guard went to him. He was still breathing. He had vital signs. An ambulance had been called already. It arrived very soon after, and the paramedics took over from there and transported him to the hospital.
To your knowledge, was anyone arrested tonight?
Not that I'm aware of, Kim. I haven't heard that yet.
Do you know what started this? Has anybody been able to give you any information how the altercation started, and did it start inside the mall?
That I'm not sure of either, Keith. Haven't really heard that much from the police. They were the ones that were interviewing the witnesses. You know, taking the accounts of what the people had seen. So at this point in time, that's the facts as I know them.
Now, we had heard that the victim was an employee. Now, we know, of course, the name hasn't been released yet. Do you know, was he an employee? Was he a shopper?
We also heard that he was an employee here, yes.
Okay.
And our information is that the victim did die after being transported to the hospital. Has that been corroborated on your end?
At this point in time, it has not been corroborated. However, the different sources from the media have told me that that is in case the fact.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harry Grandin, the mall marketing director at the Park City Center. An apparent homicide there tonight. Lancaster City Police, under the direction of Captain Joe Giese, investigating. Tonight, accused pickaxe murderer James Garrett is back in the Susquehanna Valley. The 49-year-old former York man reached York tonight about an hour ago after being flown from Oakland to Baltimore and then driven to York. You've seen there an exclusive News Center 8 video. Now, Garrett faces charges that he killed his 79-year-old mother in her Wayne Avenue home to get an inheritance of more than $500,000. James Garrett was arrested in Oakland, California late last week. He had been considered a fugitive since he left York shortly after his mother's body was discovered in the basement of her home.
Well, jury selection resumes tomorrow in the murder trial of Quinterio Smart. The selection is taking place in Williamsport, Lycoming County, but the case will be tried in York County. Smart from York is accused of raping, robbing, and murdering 29-year-old Judy Ketterman in 1987. Ketterman, a single mother of 2, was killed in early October. Police say she was dragged under a railroad trestle, beaten, and repeatedly raped. The York County District Attorney is seeking a first-degree murder conviction and death penalty. A co-defendant in the case, Carlos Moose, was already convicted of killing Ketterman. He's serving a life sentence. And tomorrow, the trial of 16-year-old Dwayne Morningwake resumes in York County. Morningwake is charged with the June 18th murder of Kwame Beatty. The youth counselor was killed inside this children's home in North York. Now, officials think Morningwake was one of 4 juveniles involved with the stabbing death of Beatty. An adult in the case, Cornell Mitchell, pleaded guilty to the murder. He has been sentenced to death.
The trial of 2 accused arsonists has ended its first day in York County Court. Jeffrey Wagaman and James Weaver, both of McSherrystown, are charged with setting the fire at Schmuck's Lumberyard in Hanover, which caused more than $1 million damage. It took firefighters more than 6 hours last June to bring the blaze under control. The jury was selected and opening arguments were delivered today. The trial is expected to last all week. Well, if you're a registered voter in Pennsylvania, have you decided how you will vote on the local tax reform ballot question in May? Well, with just 5 weeks to go until the May primary, surveys show 2/3 of all Pennsylvania voters haven't made up their minds yet or are unaware of what the issue is all about. Well, a large number of groups, including the League of Women Voters, Pennsylvania Farmers Association, Association of Retired Persons, and the leagues of counties, boroughs, and cities, are urging a yes vote on the question. Easton Mayor Salvatore Panto is president of the League of Cities. He was interviewed live on our evening report.
We want to make sure that we bring the taxing districts to into the 21st century. You know, our antiquated system that we have now really bases everything not so much on your ability to pay, but on the property tax, and it's an overburdensome effort for some of our senior citizens and people on fixed income to have to deal with this overburdened property tax, and we're looking to change that and put it on the ability for people to pay. And that's basically why the League has endorsed this. It's been about a 15-year struggle to bring some type of progressive attitude towards local tax districts, but this is the first time we really have met with some success.
On the other side of the coin, opponents of local tax reform or charging tax reform will really end up being a tax hike.
And still ahead, a special honor for a special disc jockey here in the Susquehanna Valley.
But next, Jim Stone has all the sports, including highlights of today's game between the Phils and the Expos. We'll be right back.
When Mid-Atlantic was small, hungry bankers went through shoes in no time. Always out hustling for our clients to go that extra mile. Now that we're a top-ranked super regional, some people think we should relax. They must be kidding.
In 1987, we squared off against Burger King and won. Best tasting, best quality. In '88, we ran rings around McDonald's, beating them 2-1. So who has the best tasting hamburgers in '89?
Wendy's. Wendy's.
Without a doubt, Wendy's.
So now, South Central Pennsylvania starts celebrating Wendy's victory. Right now, get a big quarter-pound single for just 89 cents when you purchase a large soft drink. Now at Wendy's, the best hamburgers in the business.
We have to humor Daddy. He just got a new camera. Don't scoff. At People's Drug, all of us 35-millimeter customers get jumbo 4x6 prints.
Really? 4x6?
Uh-huh. 37% bigger.
Do we still get the same choice?
Sure. 2 jumbo sets of quality 4x6 prints, or 1 set and a new roll of film.
Same low price?
Same low price.
Then I say the bigger the better. What do you say, Flash? People's Drug.
The convenience you want, the savings you deserve.
Mark's that you?
Yeah, Mom.
See what was in the driveway?
Uh-huh.
Electric blue?
Yeah, great, Mom.
Bucket seat? You can drive it?
What?
It's a new Ford.
You feel wrong when you said Ford.
Yeah, I know.
Don't you be surprised by Ford Lawn and Garden products. See your Ford New Holland dealer.
Does this thing got a tape deck?
Our national monuments, they define our past and our future. But we have another national treasure, our soil and water. Find out what you can do about soil and water conservation. We owe it to our children. Call 1-800-THE-SOIL.
Felt more like football weather tonight than baseball.
Have to play in mucklucks in this kind of stuff.
Hey, it can be as cold as it wants. If the Phillies win the way they did tonight, they'll take the cold weather, any kind of weather. The Phillies and Expos played in the deep freeze tonight at the Vet as Floyd Yeomans got his first chance to face his former teammates. The Phils had a chance to face 6'10" rookie Randy Johnson, and Lancaster's Tom Herr picked up his first RBI as a Phil with this single in the first, driving in Bob Dernier. Now the Expos tied it in the second on this solo homer by Mike Fitzgerald off Yeomans, who left the game in the fourth. Fitzgerald had 2 homers on the night, but the Phils knocked Johnson out early too. Von Hayes, boom time with 2 on, 3-run dinger to make it 4-1 Phils in the second. And it was 6-6 in the ninth when Hayes did it again. This time off rookie Gene Harris, a game-winning home run gives the Phils a 7-6 victory. Von Hayes just carrying the Phillies right now with his bat. He is hitting close to 600. Elsewhere in the National League on the scoreboard, Cincinnati leading Houston in the ninth, Atlanta in front of San Diego, and the Giants lead the Dodgers early in the second inning. Now, the Orioles playing very competitive baseball on their first road trip of the season. Tonight, they faced the Royals in Kansas City, and while they lost, they played pretty well. First inning, Danny Tartable off Pete Harnish, a sacrifice fly, gave the Royals a 1-0 lead. That's all they needed. The Orioles couldn't score any runs, but they're playing better defensively. Bob Boone robbed here by Jim Traber. But Brett Saberhagen was the story of this game, a 3-hitter, as the Royals beat the Orioles the final 3-0. Elsewhere in the American League, Boston a winner over Cleveland in their home opener. Texas beat Milwaukee in 10. Toronto pounded the Yankees. Boy, Dallas Green must be pulling his hair out. Oakland leading California in the 4th, and the White Sox out in front of Seattle in the 3rd. The Harrisburg Senators snowed out tonight in the Eastern League at London, Ontario. How'd you like to play baseball up there? They'll try again tomorrow, and probably with the same result. Now, there wasn't any snow here today, but plenty of cold weather. Manheim Township still faced McCaskey in high school baseball. The Red Tornado took a 1-0 lead on this RBI single to the left by Jesse Fluke, who was anything but a fluke at this at-bat. Manheim Township scored 9 runs, though, in the 7th to win at 11-5 over McCaskey. Well, after leading Michigan to a national championship as an interim head coach, Steve Fisher was hired today as the Wolverines' full-time head man, and Fisher is taking a realistic approach after his success in the NCAA tournament.
National championships are few and far between for any of us. We were blessed, lucky, good, all wrapped into one to allow that to happen this year. It may never happen again, but it won't happen from lack of effort, lack of heart, or determination.
The Washington Bullets are in the hunt for the final playoff spot in the East, but tonight they hardly look like a playoff team, losing to Detroit. The steal by Joe Dumars, who goes coast to coast, and the Pistons led early, and they won it big. The Pistons playing without the injured Isaiah Thomas buried the Bullets with Bill Laimbeer leading the way with 27 points. Detroit won it 124-100. To the NBA scoreboard, Boston a winner over Jersey, so the Celtics lead the Bullets now by 2.5. Atlanta over Charlotte. Indiana beat Dallas. It was Seattle downing San Antonio. The Lakers leading the Clippers in the 2nd, and Sacramento out in front of Miami. So the Phillies winning the 9th. Von Hayes, red hot. I tell you what, that guy's going to be traded in spring training. They're lucky they didn't trade him right now.
They need him right now.
Oh, man.
All right, Jim.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you. Well, a dandy night tonight at the Country Music Awards.
And Spotlight tonight will take us to a special party for NBC's Golden Girls. Stay with us.
Here's to you, America. We share your sense of pride.
And it is with pride. Your Jeep Eagle dealer announces $750 cash back on the luxurious Eagle Premier. Get $500 cash back on the sporty Eagle Summit. Or no, you can choose 0% financing on either. Eagle gives you a great protection plan, too. Here's to you, America.
See your key state's Jeep Eagle dealer, where you can expect the best.
Don't miss the April shower of savings now through Sunday at Easttown Mall. Check the many stores for savings to give you a good case of spring fever for 1989. Day or night, the savings are yours at Easttown Mall. And don't forget, when it rains savings, it pours at Easttown Mall on the Lincoln Highway east of Lancaster.
Easttown Mall, community, be part of it.
Jimmy, did you know your daddy is planning for your future? He just bought a Toro GTS lawnmower with a 5-year starting guarantee. For 5 years, it'll start in the first or second pull, or Toro will fix it free. So your daddy knows it'll be around a long time, which means someday you might be using it to mow the lawn.
Save up to $75 on a new Toro at these Toro dealers.
Well, tonight, a popular Susquehanna Valley country music disc jockey is basking in the glow of national recognition. Dandelion of WRKZ Z107 in Hershey was honored as Disc Jockey of the Year on the Academy of Country Music Awards show tonight. Now, she becomes the first woman ever to win the award, and we're going to see her here in just a moment, we hope. But to thousands of truckers who listen, there she is on the right, who listen to her overnight music and conversation they've known for a long time. Their nighttime hero was a winner. Congratulations to Dandelion from all of us at WGAL.
Well, the cast and crew of the Golden Girls has had a lot to celebrate over the past 4 years. The show has always won its time slot on Saturday nights, and the 4 stars have all won Emmy Awards. The Golden Girls have just finished their 100th episode, which was good reason to party. Pam Thompson reports on Spotlight tonight.
Estelle Getty, Bea Arthur, Betty White, and Rue McClanahan looked more like glamour girls than Golden Girls when they arrived at the Black Tie Gala in their honor. The party celebrating their 100th episode was held in Los Angeles at the legendary Coconut Grove nightclub, which was refurbished specifically for this event. Betty White, who plays Rose, says the Golden Girls is golden because of the special friendship between the stars.
We don't go back to our dressing rooms in between shots. We sit there and schmooze with each other. And I think that's an intangible that the audience senses, even if they don't know it.
Estelle Getty, who plays the feisty Sophia, agrees that the friendship is special, but says it's more than that.
Oh, I think that what makes us so golden is that we have golden writers who do great scripts for us, and meaningful, important, and funny scripts for us. That's what makes it golden.
The actress who plays the sex-starved Blanche feels the show is successful because it has changed the way we all view older women.
From the letters I've gotten and the responses I get from the public, it has released women, at least, into a more youthful opinion of themselves. At least, in other words, they're not giving up and fading into the background, as they might have done, because they thought society expected that of them at a certain age.
The 100th episode of The Golden Girls will air on May 6th, and the Saturday night tradition is expected to continue for at least another season. I'm Pam Thompson, News Center 8 in Hollywood.
We could be seeing near record cold temperatures tonight.
Meteorologist Joe Calhoun will have the frigid forecast when the late report comes right back.
We did some research to find out why the Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in America.
Because Ford has twin I-beam suspension. That means a better ride.
Ford has a bigger standard payload than the Chevy CK10. I need that.
Full instrumentation. It's standard on Ford, but not on Chevy.
The results are clear. People buy more Ford trucks.
Because Ford trucks give you more.
It's back. Discounts and cash totaling over $3,500 on F-150 trucks at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
Whether you're looking for an orthodontist or a bite to eat, you'll find it in the yellow pages in the red phone book from United Telephone, the best red book in history. Whether you're looking for a costume shop or a therapist, you'll find it in the yellow pages in the red phone book from United Telephone, the best red book in history.
For more than 80 years, people have come home to homes with Anderson windows. Come home. And while times have changed, our commitment to quality and to the home has not. Which is why today, more people come home to Anderson windows than any other.
Come home to quality. Come home to Anderson.
Imagine stepping into life 200 years ago in colonial Williamsburg. A living, breathing, working town. A town waiting to be discovered, experienced, explored. Another way of life is waiting for you. See it. Live it. For information, call 1-800-HISTORY and come to colonial Williamsburg.
Fruit growers turning in droves to find out what's going on.
And homeowners, too.
Well, we're frigid. It's frying out in Phoenix. They were 100 degrees today again for a record high. We could be about 75 to 80 degrees colder than that. And there is a freeze warning, again, in effect for the lower parts of the Susquehanna Valley, generally, again, because of mainly the orchards, and also we're not quite to that average last freeze date. But temperatures are starting to tumble, even though there are some clouds still around. Down to 33 in Shamokin, it's 34 in Lancaster and 36 in Lancaster, 34 in Lebanon. Right now it's 41 in Carlisle. Here's what's happening officially outdoors. We have a partly cloudy sky. It's at 36 degrees. The relative humidity is at 38%, quite dry. Barometric pressure is on the rise, and the winds, they are out of the northwest at 9, but they're dying out. But those winds, those steering winds up at about 20 to 30,000 feet, well, they're dipping down into our neck of the woods out of western Canada. Usually during the springtime, this jet stream wind starts to migrate northward. Where they're doing that over the west, that's where all the hot weather is. But that hot weather is forcing way up into western Canada. It's tapping some cold air and coming right down in our neck of the woods. It's going to keep us chilly this week. With this kind of a flow, there aren't any oceans up there, so it's going to be rather dry. Here's what's happened today. It was on the cool side. Our high was only 42 compared to a normal high of 61, 34 the overnight low. Compare that to 40 is what we usually feel in the morning hours. We're going to be quite chilly again for the next couple of days because of that northerly flow, plus the center of the cold air. Canadian high pressure now over Arkansas. Lots of records over the plain states. That cold air coming over the lakes. 4 to 5 inches of snow over western parts of New York by tomorrow. But by tomorrow, those colder temperatures will also continue with us in the 40s, some 50s just off to the south. So a little nippy yet, but it'll warm up eventually. It has to. We're almost near summer. Here's the details. Start the forecast. Some record cold overnight with that freeze warning remaining in effect. And then for tomorrow morning, as you start your day off, you may have to do a little scraping in some spots with temperatures in the 20s. Though the air is pretty dry, so probably won't have too much frost in the windshield. Tomorrow afternoon will be sunny and chilly, 45 to 50. The rest of the week, gradually warming up just a bit, although there could be some afternoon or evening showers in 1 or 2 spots. That's about it, just 1 or 2 spots by Wednesday afternoon or evening. But for tomorrow afternoon, mostly sunny, but kind of chilly, 45 to 50. That's still too cold for me.
It's chilly. All right, Joe, thanks a lot. And that is the Late Report. Thank you for watching. Jay Leno is the guest host on The Tonight Show with special guest singer Carole King.
And the latest word on what happened with the cold on the Morning Report tomorrow at 6:30. For all of us on the News Center 8 team, thank you for watching. Have a good and a warm night.
Good night.
Good morning. I'm reading this morning from the 42nd chapter of the prophecy of Isaiah. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations. He will not cry or lift up his voice or make it heard in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a dimly burning wick he will not quench. He will faithfully bring forth justice. He will not fail or be discouraged till he has established justice in the earth, and the coastlands wait for his law. Have a good day, and may God be with you.
This has been 1 Minute with Your Bible with Reverend Robert G. Hunsaker, pastor of St. Andrew United Church of Christ of Lancaster.
The programs broadcast by this station may not be used for any purpose except exhibition at the time of their broadcast on receivers of the type ordinarily used for home reception in places where no admission, cover, or mechanical operating charges are made. And now, the staff and management of WGAL-TV thank you, the televiewing audience, for the privilege of serving you today with television entertainment and information. WGAL-TV, Channel 8, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, is owned and operated by WGAL-TV Incorporated. WGAL-TV is an equal opportunity employer who gives consideration to all qualified individuals without regard to their race, color, religion, age, national origin, or sex. Until later this morning, when our telecasting day of network, studio, videotape, and pre-recorded presentations begins, it's good night and good morning from WGAL-TV, your television headquarters on Channel 8.